The little light's on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so just to reiterate, I'm glad you all are here, and I welcome you to learn more about your community hospital and the REH designation. I know a few of your faces, but I am Angie. I am the CEO at the hospital, have been the CEO since 2020. Have been at the hospital for 17 years in a multitude of roles. Prior to the Rural Emergency Hospital designation, we were a critical access hospital. And our new designation brings a little more opportunity, not only to the hospital, but to the community. As an REH facility, we are focused on now expanding and improving our emergency services and our outpatient services. One thing, we no longer offer long-term inpatient care. We do offer short-term inpatient care. I know that there's been some confusion around that. So we no longer do long-term inpatient care or swing bed program, which is our rehab program. We currently partner with larger healthcare facilities across Northwest Arkansas as well as across the state to help provide long-term inpatient care or specialty care where it's needed. And to be honest, nothing has changed in the way we see patients. When patients come into our hospital, we quickly assess them, determine whether they are right to stay within our facility for a short-term stay or whether they need to be transferred out for a long-term stay or specialty care such as cardiac, or if they are fine to go home. So that has not changed with anything we do. Our emergency room continues to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, or 366 since this year is a leap year. We are both trauma designated and stroke certified facility. We take pride that we have accomplished that through the Arkansas Department of Health. And we know how important healthcare is to our rural community. We're all members of our community. We all, of course, work here through the hospital. And we see where it's important and how it affects all of our community and our families. That's why I wanted to talk with you all today. I know there's been some confusion, and I want to make sure that we hear your voices and can answer any questions you may have. Specifically, I would like you to tell us, are there outpatient services that you see could be useful here? With this new designation, we can bring different things in. We can reach out to our partner hospitals, and as of right now, we do have a clinic space across from the hospital that is utilized from different specialists over in Northwest Arkansas, such as the dermatologist, a urologist, and we now have a gastroenterologist that utilizes our clinic. And we'll start utilizing our hospital services too for procedures and so forth. Make sure I've covered all of our outpatient services. Of course, we've always had physical therapy. We've had speech therapy. We can do any kind of outpatient nursing services, such as infusions. And of course, like I said, our emergency services are there for the community to use. So I'm going to open it up and just kind of see what your thoughts are, what kind of questions you may have for us. I have not introduced Larissa. You may have seen her if you've been to the hospital. She is our Chief Nursing Officer. So if there's something I can't answer, I'm sure she may be able to. And of course, we have Sam too. Yes. Hi.
I live 1 block from you guys, right down the street. Anyway, this real REH designation and then the influx of money you're getting to fund that, is that funding one-time deal, or is it every year, or is it going to continue information you're going to stay like this for the next 20 years?
So with this designation, this is us now. This is us for the rest of our lives, should I say. There was funding with the critical access hospital. They had their own funding program, and so does the REH. It's a little different. We do get monthly stipends instead of like with critical access. You would get an annual stipend if you qualified. With REH, it's a guaranteed monthly stipend 12 months out of the year. Yeah.
I'm retired from the federal government, and I have not military, but civilian. I have my civilian insurance company, GEHA.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to your hospital. I don't really want to go, but should I go there just to give like paperwork to have my insurance information on hand in case I ever do come in an emergency? Or should I just wait until?
They will take it, they do it on an as admission basis. So if you ever need us, just bring it with you when you come in and they will take care of you. We will track it down. We'll take care of you first before we worry about the paperwork. Yes.
Y'all are welcome to talk at the mic if you would like.
If that's easier, or we can just, I feel like I should just come over closer to you. I feel so far away over here.
So I have a couple of things. One, I love that you're going to rural emergency services, and I've experienced those with
Oh, I wish. I don't know if my microphone will go that far. It's recording. It's recording.
anyway, I think there's huge, but just like there's some people here, how many people know what that means and what it is. The concern, a couple of concerns I have is experiencing rural services being basically interns, and as soon as they're over, they leave and somebody else comes. And so for the patient, they have a very long-term experience. They have to go through telling their story again. And I think there's ways we have now with my chart and others, but we're going to have to take charge of that and make sure everybody knows what it is. And the other piece of it is, how do we stay accountable to what the community says it needs versus what the government offers or what the city decides? Where can we have conversations so that it's not somebody questioning? It's how do we make it take it to the next level?
Well, that's a very good question. That's something I've been thinking about, and I know there are a lot of communities that I speak out to, speak to other CEOs that are REHs, and just in general that are in healthcare. And there are a lot of small rural communities that have implemented like a community, I'm not going to say a commission per se, but it's like a community group, that like a healthcare related group where it has community members, it has the healthcare members, and they meet. Some of them I've heard meet monthly, some of them I meet quarterly, and just discuss what needs are, what they're seeing in the community. And that's something I've actually been thinking about trying to implement, because we wouldn't be who we are if it wasn't for our community members. And I think they need a voice with healthcare and what is offered.
It sounds like this change is really going to allow hospitals to sort of focus on the things that will really, parts of the hospital that will be utilized, and really kind of narrow the focus. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. So just to go a little deeper into that, going back to the pandemic and healthcare, of course, healthcare went through a huge change when that hit, and a lot of rural communities have seen a change kind of how we seen it, prior to COVID and those years following. Rural hospitals were utilized more for inpatient services and the rehab. Well, a lot of the larger outlying urban facilities built their own rehabs, advanced their inpatient care. So those patients that would normally come back to, like our hospital, like we'd get someone, transfer them over to Washington Regional or Mercy or any of them over there, they would come back to us for an extended stay, so anywhere from a week to 2 weeks for rehab. And that just wasn't happening. That shift had completely changed. And we noticed as our census numbers had dropped over the last couple of years, our ER numbers have climbed and our outpatient services have climbed. And that's what these other facilities that I've spoke to have noticed as well. I think it's just a shift in how rural healthcare is right now. And it does, this designation does give us a little more focus to where we can bring in some of those outlying services. And I've heard different things from infusion clinics to respiratory testing, different things like that people are traveling for, that we could keep in our local community and keep you from having to drive that hour or longer.
It seems like the shift is going to make the hospital a whole lot more financially stable, which is good for the community.
Yes. Not only with the monetary funds that the designation itself, but just the operations of it. We were able to cut back on expenses, increase revenue through bringing in these new services. So yeah, it'll help us to become more financially stable in an unstable financial healthcare world. Yeah.
Are there any, this is not for me, no. Are there, the outpatient surgery, are there mental health facilities in the Eureka area for people that are, we have a lot of seniors in this town, a lot of, isolation, seniors, isolation, depression stuff, and just miscellaneous, are there any mental health services right now?
There are different mental health or behavioral health type services. When it comes to like the geriatric, there are not many.
Yeah, fine. It's a small town, small area, rural, I understand that.
Yeah. It seems like the focus, there's a lot of focus in a lot of facilities in town and surrounding us that is more towards substance abuse, which is much needed. But there could be a little stronger look on what could come in for behavioral health for different age groups as well. Yeah.
We have two people I know here that are in their 70s and 80s, and they lost their spouse within the past year, and they live out in some of the isolated areas. And I don't know if they had any kind of program or somebody would go out
Kind of like
and
a,
say,
like,
let's check and make sure we follow up as far as we can, but there's something within the community that addresses issue like that. It's just a question of this.
yeah. Well, that's good. That gets us thinking. There's options there. Yes. Hi.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for everything that you all do for the community. I'm so happy that we have healthcare here, and my family, unfortunately, are having frequent flyer miles to the hospital. We're kind of a rowdy bunch, so
Yeah.
I can say that you take really good care of us in the emergency room, and then outpatient stuff as well. I was sad to see the family clinic go away, and sorry, I was a little bit late.
Oh, you're fine.
You're bringing more outpatient services in. Will there be another family clinic? Did you already speak to that?
Well, I have not. And it's not completely off the table. I know that clinic, it was utilized by a few community members. It just never grew. And at the time when we were thinking of transitioning, that's why we closed it. Whether we could get another provider would be the question. But it's never off the table. I mean, we've kept everything open and everything current, so if the need fits, it can come back.
So other than, I like everything that you're offering, are there other outpatient services? I love the idea of not driving an hour every time as I get a little bit older.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes.
Yeah. And I like to put my money local too.
I guess that's kind of why we wanted to have this too, was to hear what was out there. Like I said, I've been approached for like infusion clinics. I've been approached for respiratory therapy testing, kind of like PFTs, a lot of asthma, non-smoking type classes and that sort of thing. Another big area that is sorely lacking in not just Eureka, but Carroll County as a whole is women's health. And that's a whole nother subject that we may tackle, because there used to be, and there hasn't been for years. And that, unfortunately, that is an area of issue across the state. Back in the beginning of March, end of February, I'm trying to think how long ago it was, I went to a meeting that was put on by the governor, and it was regarding maternal health, women's health, and hearing other counties in southern Arkansas that they have nowhere to deliver babies at this point or anything. Not that we'll be delivering babies, I'm not going to throw that out there, but there are options that we could bring specialists in to at least provide some sort of appointment type care. I think we quit delivering babies like in 1992, if I remember right. I wasn't here then. Any other thoughts, questions? Yeah.
My name's Jeffrey. I'm a native of Arkansas. I just recently moved back. I've been living in Washington State. Pretty significant difference in healthcare. Washington being extremely progressive and available even in rural areas, but obviously working with a much larger budget. This town is unique to Arkansas and other places, and it's historic and walkable. There have been a lot of studies done in the field of architecture and land planning as to the health benefits of living in a walkable community. Actually, not only living, but aging in place. It's a place that you can retire. You don't have to have a car. You just need to have walkability to your services. So the question is, has anyone approached you that works in that sector, the built environment, or maybe historic preservation, to partner in some way, or possibly a nonprofit housing group that can partner to, I guess, look at unmet needs, period. Focus on health-related unmet needs, but just sort of like a study group that would actually grow into something that's active and productive, and enhancing our walkability, our health. I can tell you, I lived here 3 years ago, and it was the healthiest time of my life, because I walked everywhere.
Yeah, I can say no one has approached in that aspect. So when we went REH, there is a corporation that has been brought on through the federal government to help facilities transition, and they actually are working on a health needs assessment, looking at the hospital and looking at our communities, and we'll come in and go, once that's completed, we'll discuss what their thoughts are. And I'm anxiously waiting to see what they bring up. But I don't think they'll take in the fact that, yeah, it's true. Our community is unique in that way that, I know folks that don't own cars because they can walk everywhere and so on. And I can see where that definitely plays a factor in people's health. So I'm curious to see what they bring back. Once they get me their report, I plan on bringing it, making it public for everyone to review and see if I can get input on what people think and what through that report and the needs that they think we should get. Anybody else? It's kind of a small group, but it's been very, very helpful. Yeah, well, I thank you guys for coming and braving the weather. I don't know when it's supposed to hit, but I think we're all on edge waiting patiently.
I moved up here from Oklahoma, and this is tornado season for us every day, so
Oh, yes,
that's why I left.
yes. Well, anybody have anything else or any other questions or needs? Okay, well, I thank you guys for coming in, and if you think of anything, don't hesitate to call me, email me, reach out to Sam, any of the above.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.